So a while ago, you learned about exponents, and you learned, at least I think you did, that this thing is the number that you multiply by itself. You multiply it by itself that many times. So would you agree 5 to the third power means to take 5 times 5 times 5, right? 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 You already know that. You already know that. 5 times 5. I think that's 125. 25 times 5, 125. If I have 2 to the 5th power, that means to multiply 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. What is that going to be? 32. 32? Sounds good to me. 32 it is. So you know how to do that, right? Part of what you're going to do today, this is really difficult. You're going to write this in exponent form. That just means write it using an exponent. What would this be using an exponent? 6 to what power? Yeah, 4. How about this one? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of those? A to the 5th. Yes? How about this one? They're all mixed up. Well, multiplying, it doesn't matter what order. So we can start multiply negative 2 times 3. What is negative 2 times 3? Negative 6. And then what else do we have? How many of those? 2. So that would be a p squared. And what about the q's? 1, 2, 3. So q to the 3rd power. Oh, one thing I was going to mention, I forgot to mention back here where you had 2 to the 5th power. Would you believe, you would not believe, the number of times that people tell me that's 10. It's not 2 times 5, it's this number multiplied by itself 5 times. 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2, 32. They tell me that all the time that that's 10. And guess what they tell me this is? 15, but it's 5 times 5 times 5. 125, right? 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 One thing you have to be careful of, is this. See those two things? They are not the same. Top one, no parentheses. Bottom one has parentheses. You know what the difference is? This one means to take all of this times itself 4 times. It means to do negative 2 times negative 2 times negative 2 times negative 2. What is that? Negative 2 times negative 2 is, this times this is 4. Negative 2 times negative 2 is 4. 4 times 4 is 16, right? Times. Or you could just go, this is 4. 4 times negative 2 is negative 8. Negative 8 times negative 2, positive 16, right? But what this means, when there's parentheses, it means take all of that times itself 4 times. You know what? I forgot to turn the Google Meet on. Think anyone wants to join? It means take all of it times itself 4 times. Up here, no parentheses, it means take 2 times itself 4 times. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then when you're all done, put a negative sign in front of it. When you're all done with this, put a negative sign in front of it. So what does that give you? That gives you a negative 16. So you have to be careful if there's parentheses or not. If there's parentheses, you take all of this times itself. Negative 2 times negative 2 times negative 2, negative 2. If there's no parentheses, you just do this part, 2 to the 4, 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. And when you're all done, you take the opposite sign. Does that make sense? How about this? The difference between 1 plus 5 to the second and 1 plus 5 to the second. Before you do those, let me remind you of the please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. Parentheses first. So what do you do here? 5 and 1 is 6. 6 squared? What is 6 squared? Right. But down here, there are no parentheses. You don't do parentheses first. After parentheses come exponents. 5 to the second is 25. 25 plus 1. So it kind of makes a difference whether or not you have parentheses. Parentheses. Anybody with questions so far? I'm guessing not. Do you want to go around the room and see if they're breathing?
No, I'm good.
2a plus b. If I tell you to evaluate that, you can't. You can't unless I tell you a equals 3 and b equals negative 2. Now you can evaluate. What does that mean, evaluate it? Tell what it's equal to. Plug in the values. I have 2a plus b squared. But a is 3. I'm going to plug in a is 3. And b is negative 2. So what do I really have? What do I really have? 2 times a, but a is 3, plus a negative 2, all squared. Do inside the parentheses first. I've got to multiply and then I've got to subtract. What do you do first, multiply or subtract? Right, good, you multiply. So this would be 6 plus a negative 2. What is 6 and negative 2? It's 4. 4 squared? 16. 16. I think that's about all I have today. I think that's about all I have today. I think that's about it. I think that's about it. Anybody with questions? Are there any questions? Does anyone have a question? I didn't think so. I'm on page 143 and 144. I'm on page 143, 144. I got OE 1 to 58. And I have WE 4 to 72, I think. What part of 1 to 19? Oh, that's why. 1 to 19 and 24 to 30. Happy Monday. Ooh. Settle down now, settle down.